Hi, hello and welcome. My name is Lottie, aka Sneezy Ferret, and let's talk about the BBC. So, my thoughts on the BBC are that they are a very much left-wing organisation that skew the news constantly and do nothing but harass citizens over TV licences, which none of us should actually have to have in the first place. I believe the BBC should have to compete with online streaming services such as Netflix and Amazon Prime. Oddly enough, I don't think the taxpayers should be forced to foot the bill, especially not for the piss-poor programming that they actually give us. So imagine my surprise this morning when I came across this article. White House blasts BBC after the world's most trusted broadcaster doctored a Trump speech a week before the election. Now this is in regards to the January 6th incident, so I'm going to play the doctored version and then the original for you.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women, and we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness.
So, as you can see, yeah, it's definitely doctored. Right, let's get into the article. The White House slammed the BBC after an internal report revealed that the broadcaster doctored the Donald Trump speech on January 6th. Michael Prescott, who spent 3 years as an independent advisor to the corporation before leaving last June, sent a dossier to its board last month after repeated warnings to the standards watchdog were dismissed or ignored. The 19-page document obtained by the Daily Telegraph has sent shockwaves through the highest levels of British politics. I don't understand why they're so surprised, because it didn't surprise me. It really didn't. I was kind of expecting it. The BBC, which is funded by the UK taxpayer, is also accused of widespread bias in its coverage, ranging from the anti-Israel commentary on the Gaza war to censorship of the transgender debate. Prescott explained how the BBC, often described as the world's most trusted broadcaster, completely misled viewers during an episode of the programme Panorama, which aired a week before the election, by showing the president telling supporters he was going to walk to the Capitol with them to fight like hell, so an outright lie. Apparently that particular line was used about an hour away from the line they used, so in reality Trump said he would walk with them to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Trust in the media is an all-time low because of deceptive editing, misleading reporting and outright lies, White House spokesman Abigail Jackson told the Daily Mail. This is yet another example of many highlighting why countless Americans turn to alternative media sources to get their news. Not just Americans. The British have started to flock to different YouTube news sites because they cannot trust our news. When I go through a news article like this, I have to double check the facts before I start reading it, otherwise I'll be the one in trouble. The report noted that the programme made Trump say things he never actually said by editing together footage from the start of his speech with something he said nearly an hour later. The BBC's edited clip also featured crowd noises that made the MAGA faithful appear more menacing. Yes, because patriots are menacing. The Capitol riot has been a lasting stain on Trump's legacy, and the president himself remains under legal scrutiny with ongoing charges related to his role in the 2021 events. Look, now I've got to be careful what I say on YouTube in regards to the Capitol riot. I believe that the vast majority of people behaved well, that they were pretty much let into the building and were guided along by police officers. I've watched a lot of the CCTV footage myself, and it's pretty damn boring. Some of the people that the FBI decided to really go after were innocent people who actually were reporters on scene. So, take from that what you will. Trump sparked backlash on the first day of his second term by pardoning all 1,600 individuals who had been convicted, or were awaiting trial or sentencing for offences related to the January 6th riot. When the memo was brought to the attention of BBC leadership, they refused to accept that there had been a breach of standards. Yeah, because of course they did. The memo's author additionally warned Samir Shah, the BBC chairman, of the very, very dangerous precedent set by Panorama, but was ignored. It is now understood that Prescott's report is circling among senior figures in the British government. The president's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., responded to the controversy by calling UK media dishonest. Understatement. The fake news reporters in the UK are just as dishonest and full of as the ones here in America hear it on X. I've got to start not swearing as much, okay, to make up for yesterday. Boris Johnson, Britain's former Conservative Prime Minister, said, "This is a total disgrace. The BBC has doctored footage of Trump to make it look as though he incited a riot, when in fact he said no such thing. We have Britain's national broadcaster using a flagship programme to tell palpable untruths about Britain's closest ally. Is anyone at the BBC going to take responsibility and resign? No. Nope. And chances are, when the TV licence comes up for debate in the House of Commons, we'll end up paying more for it, because I doubt very much that they are listening to the public. None of us wants to pay for it. We want it gone." Nigel Farage, leader of the right-wing Reform Party, said, "It's no wonder that fewer people are paying the BBC licence fee every year." The former BBC advisor who authored the memo says he was compelled to speak out because of his despair at inaction by the BBC executive when issues come to light. "I departed from the advisory role with profound and unresolved concerns about the BBC," Prescott wrote. "My view is that the executive repeatedly failed to implement measures to resolve highlighted problems, and in many cases simply refused to acknowledge that there was an issue at all." Sounds like our government, to be perfectly honest. Does anyone else think Starmer would be perfect working at the BBC? They'd love him, wouldn't they? He said he had been shocked at the defensiveness of Jonathan Munro, the BBC senior controller of news content, and Deborah Turnes, chief executive of BBC News, when his complaints were raised. He added firm and transparent action plans to prevent the reoccurrence of problems are in short supply, and so, as you can see, errors are repeated time and time again. This isn't an error, this is a lie. The accusations come at a critical time for the BBC, which is facing funding negotiations with the government, when the Royal Charter comes up for renewal in 2027. Similar to a congressional charter in the US, it is a government-approved agreement that sets out the BBC's funding, mission, and editorial independence. They haven't been independent for a very, very, very long time. I say very long time rather than ever, because there's only so far you can go back. A BBC spokesman told the Daily Mail, "While we don't comment on leaked documents," of course they don't, "when the BBC receives feedback, it takes it seriously and considers it carefully. Michael Prescott is a former advisor to a board committee where differing views and opinions of our coverage are routinely discussed and debated." So nobody's taking responsibility for it, as of usual, really. It is just business as usual. The BBC will just pretend this didn't happen, and unfortunately I think Labour is going to be more likely than any other party to up the amount of money that the public pay for the BBC. I really do. I think we're going to find that Starmer's going to defend them to the hilt, so unfortunately, once again. So I'm going to leave the video here. I love you all very much, please take care, and I shall see you all in another video. Yes, that. Mwah. Bye bye.